We're ready to go. Our players have resolved their mulligans. They're ready for some pregame actions and to get ready to go. In this pod, we have Nathaniel, who I can pull up their deck list here. They were on feature match here earlier. They were on Timna Dargo. They will be in seat 1, which looks to be the bottom right. And then we have Juan in the bottom left. That's our seat 2. Juan on Blue Farm, Crom, and Timna. And then we have Austin, who was also in here earlier, who is on Kefka. And they will be in your top left. And then we have Jordan in your top right on Winota. So some very cool different decks here for this pod. Again, we had a couple people that have already been on camera, or maybe some Blue Farm, but Winota, very cool. And looks like we're going and starting now with Nathaniel. It's going to be a City of Brass with a Scry for Mardu Devotee. And that is our seat 1. And we'll see where that goes from there. And all these players again are in our top cut. Our top cut has a hard limit of 150 minutes or 2.5 hours. As we see, the turn gets passed over to Juan on Blue Farm and goes over to Kefka. Austin in the top left. Yes, this top cut is not untimed. It is 150 minutes, and then it will be a hard end. We are ending it at 150 minutes. If it goes that long, we will be able to have. We are going to have the top seed remaining left in the pod. We're going to have them move on to the finals. As we see our Kefka player in the top left, they're going to fetch a Badlands. They're going to play a spell, they're going to play a permanent spell, and then pass. And it looks like we'll go over to Winona. And Winona will be Snow-Covered Mountain into a Soul Ring, very strong start, into Ornithopter from our Winona player, into a Mox Opal. So we got some mana online right now. We got 3 available. And is that a Roger for 0? That's really good. And we got it looks to be Hexing Squelcher, new card from the Lorwyn Eclipsed set. Make sure that all of your spells that you cast can't be countered, and your creatures that you control have ward pay 2 life. So that's where it's going from here. Our first seat will go back. It'll be untap Badlands for turn. And then I think Gilded Treasure is the name of that card. Let's see what it says here. Price Statue, which 2 mana when it enters battlefield or put in the graveyard from battlefield, you make a treasure. And maybe looking to get Dargo out here. Yep. And the price statue put in the graveyard, getting the treasure back, so that'll be a Dargo in play. And on the end step of Nathaniel's turn, our Dargo Timna player, Juan, over in your bottom left, will crack their fetch land Scalding Tarn. And we'll see what they go get. Again, this is on the end step of our seat 1 player. So turn order, we are in Still the first turn of turn 2 around the board. And looks like that'll be a Tundra will be the grab here from Juan. Classic Blue Farm list. I don't see anything particularly crazy going on here. There's a Mayhem Devil, which is super interesting in my opinion for this list, but I wouldn't say that's like the craziest card they could play. A lot more removal heavy, and of course, ad nauseum, Thoracle. A lot of the heavy hitters is Juan will untap and go to their turn, play a starting town. Here's a Mockingbird. X is 1, so Mockingbird for 2. That's going to be a Hexing Squelcher. So Hexing Squelcher here, and that'll be a pass of the turn, as we'll have 2 mana for Harmonic Prodigy. The creature that doubles abilities of shamans or wizards. Yes, Harmonic Prodigy is the name of that card. And that will be passed back on over to our Winota player in the top right. And they're going to cast Winota. And we're going to go to attacks. Hexing Squelcher, Roger, and Ornithopter. So that is 3 non-humans that are going to attack. So we're going to look at the top 6, put a human from among them, tapped and attacking. Looks like they're just trying to figure out exactly where to attack in what fashion, but here we have Jordan on the attacks looking at the top 6 from Winona. And another Final Fantasy card here, that's sweet. And Winona getting online so fast as we're gonna keep looking at some top cards. Is definitely a threat to a lot of the players here. And we got another trigger, and that one looks to be Grand Abolisher here. Tapped and attacking, I believe. So, big amount of damage coming out the gate from Winona. Jordan, our pilot. And Dargo will probably get in front of something, but still gonna take some amount of damage. So will Juan here. And we'll go to pass the turn after all the damage has resolved. We're going to go to Nathaniel on Dargo Thras. or correction, Dargo Timna. Dargo Timna player will cast Imperial Recruiter, and we'll go search for a creature after that. And after the hey, you and me both, Zeus. After we go get that Imperial Recruiter tutor, go ahead and see what the next play is. Let's go and see what they grab. And that's just the speed of Winona being put at use. Certainly not the world's greatest deck in 2026 Magic, but that does not mean that it is bad. It can do a lot of this. You know, Roger, Ornithopter, Hexing Squelcher, and it can buy your ticket to the finals. You know, at a certain point. When you have 6 creatures into play off of a turn cycle, that can be backbreaking for a lot of opponents here. So we're gonna see after this Imperial Recruiter what's gonna go on with the board state. And it looks like that'll just be a pass of the turn on over to our seat 2-1. Again on Blue Farm here. We're going to have a Mana Confluence come down, so some painful lands already from player at 32 life. And we are going to see what they do. A Hexing Squelcher is the Mockingbird right now. So we'll just have to see. And it looks like flashing, I don't know, maybe a Technomancer. I didn't get quite a good look at that card. From our bottom right seat 1 player here. And after that, it's going to pass on over to our Kefka player, Austin, in the top left corner of your screen. It will untap. And, I mean, honestly, if pushing Kefka is a possibility to do here, I'm sure they'll do it with the Harmonic Prodigy in play. And here we go. And there's going to be some priority held here, potentially. Unless Jordan over in the top right is just getting ready for the discard, which might actually seem to be the case. Looks like that will resolve, so double Kefka trigger. We're going to see 2 discards and a lot of cards drawn. So we'll go land, enchantments, artifact land, and maybe artifacts, so that should be 3 for our Kefka player Austin, and then second trigger will go on the stack. And it will be instant, land. So just 2 there for Austin, but you know, a huge card advantage swing. Getting 6 cards out of the hands of the opponents and drawing 5, but only having to discard 1 out of that. So, you know, effectively a 10 card parity shift in the game that has happened here, as we see a Simian Spirit Guide exile to cast a Ragavan. And so that Ragavan trigger will happen once once it comes out and is able to attack, as we'll just pass back on over to Jordan, back on Winona. And looks like 3 mana here for more obscure cards. More creature attackers for Winona. That might be Archivist. Hard to tell with that. But we are going to see 6 attacks. And 3 non-human triggers off of Winona. Alright, looks like we got some dice passed around. Just trying to resolve maybe these Winona triggers. Go ahead and get some creatures tapped and attacking here, it looks like. Yeah, Myriad all the way around, looks like. And I think the crowd is about ready to start letting these Winona triggers resolve, maybe? No, we're just trying to talk about attacks and what's going to where. Is it a complicated board state with Winona and creature attackers? Yeah, there's a lot to go off here. Again, remember, this is our top cut if you're just joining us. This is our first semifinal round, one of 2 pods. We are cutting to a top 10 today with 28 players in attendance. We're cutting to a top 10. Our first 2 out of Swiss got a bye through all the way to the finals, and we'll be at first, second seat in the finals. And our players right here are playing basically a win and in for the finals, trying to get their ticket to 3rd or 4th seat depending on standings. High Noon, Mox Diamond among the cards revealed, or I guess looked at, which those aren't particularly helpful, but that one, which is a human, is quite helpful. And going to take a look at a handful more cards here. And we got this trigger and one more from Winona. We'll get another creature into play here, and a final Winona trigger will be put on the stack. And our Winona player here in seat 4, amassing a very large creature quantity in order to deal damage here. Seem to be certainly a big threat, but certainly as well some combat damage will end up going through. And it looks like that'll be death to our Timna Dargo player from Winona. Not being able to block enough there. I mean, certainly worried about the ability of Timna Dargo to pop off, so I understand the prioritization of that player. But you know, Kefka still in the wings, Blue Farm still in the wings, can definitely make a comeback here, but this Winona player looking very scary, that's for sure. And you know, that if that's the speed of Winona, you know, in the format, it can definitely have some legs. It can shake some ground. Four mana on turn 2 with 3 attackers. It's certainly not an everyday effect for Winona, but it is how you draw it up. So with Nathaniel out handedly, our Dargo Timna player in seat 1, if this game does end up in a draw, or specifically goes to time, the current person that would go on to the finals is Juan in seat 2 in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. They will untap, and we're going to see what is going on here with those players. Our remaining 3. And here's a Felwar Stone. If you're just joining us here, we are in Top Cut Action semi-final round of our MindBreak Magic cEDH tournament. If you've been here all day, we appreciate it. But if you're just joining us, we have a very great matchup. Very cool Winona, absolutely terrorizing the table. But a volatile Storm Drake comes down and is threatening to put an end to all that. Volatile Storm Drake does allow you to exchange control of a creature an opponent controls with it, and it does give you 4 energy, so you can take a 4 CMC creature. I'm not too sure if you would want to take the Winona here. Maybe even something like the Harmonic Prodigy is really good to take. Taking the Winona doesn't necessarily stop the Winona player, but having cards in your hand does enable you to win the game. Kefka here is threatening to absolve both players of that, but with Winona being in play, it doesn't really matter. Now both players are in a lot of trouble to the Kefka player. Winona comes into the battlefield under the control of Juan, our Blue Farm player, Timna Krom, bottom left-hand corner of your screen. And they're just going to pass after the volatile Storm Drake play. So a lot of power, a lot of damage on board in the top right for our Winona player, but 2 Kefka triggers coming your way, courtesy of Kefka Attack plus Harmonic Prodigy, doubling triggered abilities of Shamans and Wizards. So we'll see where that goes from here. Looks like we're just going to go straight to attacks, as Austin, our Kefka player in the top left, will untap. Take their turn, go straight to attacks. Going to attack our Blue Farm player. We're going to discard before combat damage, because that is an attack trigger. And it looks like Professional Facebreaker. I don't believe that Jordan has any cards in hand. So that will just be Professional Facebreaker, Arcane Signet for 2 cards, and second trigger will be Flusterstorm and Creature, which will be 2 draw spells. So again, a huge swing in card advantage. The Kefka player certainly advantaged in that aspect, in card parity. It looks like the Winona player is actually advantaged there. 5 mana, what do you do with it in the post-combat main phase? For Kefka is the question. Need to be able to deal with the Winona player, but putting a win on the stack might just be as good, as we see Alliance Eye Diamond hit the field. We'll have to see where that goes from here. Can't really see any of the cards in hand right now. But solace in the fact that Kefka is likely not going to trigger for the rest of the game. But we'll continue to play this out. The Kefka player, again, massive card advantage over the rest of the players. The rest of the players have 0 cards in hand. The Kefka player has about 1 million, but it might not matter. Here's 3 mana. We're going to float a colorless, it looks like, off the Soul Ring. Here's 1 and blue or black. Let's see what they want to do here. And it looks like we're still floating some mana. Trying to figure out the best way to go about this. Well, here's a Tainted Pact. Tainted Pact is a pretty good way. It looks like in response to the Tainted Pact, we'll activate... We'll use Lion's Eye Diamond in order to discard the hand. I'm not sure where that goes from here. Maybe just Tainted Pacting for the Breach. But needing to discard the hand here in order to get the 3 mana. But Tainted Pact in the Breach with a Badlands and an Undercity Sewers. The Surveil blue-black land in play. A lot of cards in the graveyard, and then potentially second Tainted Pact for Thassa's Oracle if that's not already in the hand. If that is already in the hand, or maybe not even Thassa's Oracle, maybe like Wheel or Brain Freeze could also get you there. Looks like just a Mystical Tutor on top and a handful of other cards. Mental Misstep among them, Washi Tong. Now it looks like we're Tainted Pacting. Let's see if it will be a Breach. Ideally, going for it here, you need to not lose both Wheel and Brain Freeze in order to get the Breach out. Looks like we're pausing on the Ad Nauseam. We'll say bye. Necromancy. Yogg-Will among these cards. Lotus Petal. Ghostly Flicker. We have a handful of cards here that are just enablers for the deck. There's Wheel of Fortune, but no Breach, so no Brain Freeze yet, although Brain Freeze, looks like that was Brain Freeze. It's the Kaito variant of Brain Freeze, so potentially no way to continue milling yourself if you would like to continue fueling. However, if you are able to get to a Breach, you could Tainted Pact for the Thoracle, you could Tainted Pact afterwards to the last card in your library and then cast the Thoracle. There's a few ways around this here, but looks like we're going deep for Breach. Exiling Thoracle is probably what will stop this, if anything. Fey Mastermind, a couple of lands, we've got a Chain of Vapor, and we're going 30, 40, 50 cards deep, Force of Will as it goes. Not a lot of interaction here at the table. Interaction's already been used. That's Volatile Stormdrake. And it looks like we found Breach. So all those cards will stay exiled, but you know what card is not exiled? That's right, it's Thassa's Oracle. Breach and will exile, but we're going to have to manually do this. It is certainly possible for this player to win here. We have the 1 and 1 off the LED and the Soul Ring in order to cast a Tainted Pact. So here we go, back for LED, exiling 3 irrelevant cards. We're going to crack the LED probably for triple black if I were to take a guess. And then Tainted Pact again all the way down for a... Oh, we're just going to go LED part 2. And LED part 2, exiling 3 cards. Cracked again will give some amount of colored mana. We're not sure yet. But we'll go blue, so 1 black, 1 red. Tainted Pact. I would imagine that this is about all she wrote. So 3 cards, exile the Tainted Pact. We're going to go get a Thassa's Oracle. So all the lands, or all the mana needed has already been cast with cards still left in the graveyard. So LED can, in fact, be removed here for the payment for Thoracle, if necessary. So it's important to get that out because Tainted Pact's going to put the card in the hand and you don't want to have to cast it. And it looks like our players are saying that's all it. That's all she wrote. We're going to have our seat number 3, Kefka, Austin Mender, advance all the way to the finals.